Pranam, this is Rahul Kapoor Jain and welcome back to yet another episode of Jainism Simplified. We will now continue our work with Jain Yoga. This is part 2 of the entire series. But in our previous video, we discussed about the concept of yoga, the various systems of yoga and how Jain Yoga is different from the other systems. We also then briefly touched upon the history of Jain Yoga and how Tirthankar Rishabdev, Chakravati, Bharat and Bahubali attained enlightenment. Well, it is now clear that Jain Yoga is a spiritual process of purification of the soul, which means to say that we are looking at how to eradicate the karmas associated with the soul. The TATTVAs or the 9 fundamentals are the very essence of Jain philosophy. They deal with the theory of karma, which provides the basis for the path of liberation. The karmas that get associated with our soul do not depend only on the actions of our body, mind and speech, but more importantly, they depend on the intentions behind our actions. It explains the principle governing existence of life is karma. Hence, it provides a very logical explanation to the phenomena of life and death, happiness and misery, inequalities in mental and physical attainments, and the very existence of variety of species of living beings. Without the proper knowledge of these 9 tattvas, it is almost impractical and impossible for anybody to progress on the path of spirituality. So let me present the 9 fundamentals for your understanding now. 1. Jiv or soul. 2. Ajiv or non-living matter. 3. Punya, results of good deeds. 4. Pap, results of bad deeds. 5. Ashraf, influx of karma. 6. Samvar, stoppage of karmas. 7. Bandh, bondage of karmas. 8. Nirjara, eradication of karmas. And 9. Moksha, as in liberation. Now let's understand the very first tattva or the first fundamental, Jiv. All living beings are called Jivs. They have a consciousness which is called a soul, Atma or Chetna. The body and the soul are 2 different entities and the soul cannot be reproduced. The soul is known as a sort of energy which is indestructible, invisible and shapeless. Jainism divides Jivas into 5 categories ranging from 1 sense being to 5 sense beings. The body is merely a home for the soul. At the time of the death, the soul leaves the body to occupy a new one. Tirthankaras have said that the soul has an infinite capacity to know and perceive. This capacity of the soul is not experienced in its present state because of the accumulation of karmas. The second tattva is called Ajiv. Anything which does not have a soul is called Ajiv. Ajivs do not have consciousness. Jainism divides Ajiv in 5 broad categories. Dharmastikai, which is medium of motion. Adharmastikai, which is medium of rest. Akashastikai, which is space. Pudgalastikai, which is matter. And Kal, which is time. The third fundamental is called Punya. By undertaking wholesome activities, we acquire Punya or good karmas. Some such activities are providing food or other items to the needy people, doing charity work, etc. When Punya matures, it brings forth comfort and happiness. The fourth fundamental is called Pap. When we involve ourselves in bad activities, we acquire Pap or bad karmas. Some such activities are being cruel or violent, showing disrespect to parents or teachers, being angry or greedy, and showing arrogance or indulging in deceit. When Pap matures, it brings forth suffering, misery, and unhappiness. The next 5 steps are absolutely fascinating because they talk about how we give rise to these karmic particles, how they bind to our souls, how we can stop them, eradicate them, and eventually attain liberation. The 5th tattva is called Ashraf, which means the influx of the carbon particle to the soul. It is caused by wrong beliefs, vowlessness, passion, negligence, and psychophysical activities. Such influx of karma is facilitated by mental, verbal, and physical activities. Tattva number 6 is called Samvar. It talks about how the influx of the carbon particle can be stopped. This is achieved by observing Samiti, carefulness, Gupti, control, tenfold yati dharam, which is monkhood, and contemplating on the 12 bhavanas, which are mental reflections. Bandh is the tattva number 7, which talks about how the carbon particles really bind themselves to the soul. Bandh occurs when we react to any situation with a sense of attachment or aversion, which is also known as rag or dvesh. Tattva number 8 is called nirjara, the all-important part of the process of shedding or eradicating of karmas. Karmas can be shed either by passivity or active efforts. When we passively wait for karmas to mature and to give their results in due time, it is called akam nirjara. On the other side, if we put active efforts for karmas to mature earlier than supposed to be, it is called sakam nirjara. Sakam nirjara can be achieved by performing penance, regretting, asking for forgiveness for the discomfort we may have caused to someone, meditation, among other activities. And finally, here is the 9th tattva, moksha. When we eradicate all the karmas associated with the soul, we attain liberation or moksha. So here we are. You've understood the Nav Tattvas or the 9 fundamentals, which clearly articulates the entire process of influx of karma to its eradication process. Well, for those of you who are really keen on taking your first step towards getting involved in Jain Yoga, you must realize the importance of nirjara. Jain scriptures lay tremendous amount of importance on austerities of tap. In Tattvartha Sutra, Acharya Uma Swatiji articulates, Tapassa nirjaracha, which means to say nirjara can be attained through tap. In our next video, I shall explain to you the 6 internal and 6 external tap, and that will help you to really consolidate your learning on the concept of Jain Yoga. And that's Jainism Simplified.